For all that they claim to believe in God, I have a feeling that if God ever showed up on a golden chariot with a flaming sword and bearing the wrath of ages, most religious people wouldn't believe that he was their God. There could, in fact, never be enough evidence that the sparkly creature hovering in the sky and shooting lightning bolts out of his eyes was God, because religious people don't want evidence that their God exists. They like running on faith. They like running on automatic, as Bionic Dance says. They think it makes them exalted and special that they prefer their unreasoning faith to reasoning logic. To what do I attribute this tendency in the religious? I think it stems largely from a belief that if they ever actually saw God, he would fall far below their expectations. He wouldn't be tall enough or omniscient enough. He might be black or Chinese or a gerbil. Hell, he might even be a woman. In short, just as evidence against God would never be enough to sway the true believers among us, evidence for God would never be enough either. No matter how much proof and ID the dude with the voice like thunder and the abs like Daniel Craig's came bearing, and I mean really, God must have some amazing abs, he would never be believed to be God. Believed to be a powerful extraterrestrial maybe, believed to be a demonic false god or an angel with delusions of grandeur maybe, but never as the big G-O-D. And logically speaking, the odds that the rumbly-voiced, wrath-bearing, lightning-bolt-lobbing charioteers and extraterrestrial are exponentially more likely than that such a being is actually a god. Any god is described by a person or a holy book, and here's another bone of contention. Religious people can never agree on a god or a description of said god, even if they're of the same sect. They can never give a positive definition of their God except for either wishy-washy terms, e.g. God is love, or in very negative terms, e.g. God is vengeful, wrathful, jealous, and doesn't like to share. But any God as described by a person or a holy book is considered to be perfect and absolute. But if God were to appear, he might not be. He might be imperfect in his knowledge, his power, and his love. He might be imperfect in his justice. He might, in fact, just tell his followers that there's no plan, and that he was just bored one Monday and decided to create existence as a whimsical pet project, with no more intent than a kid buying an ant farm. Humanity might very well be the hobby kid of the universe, rather than the crown jewel. Instead of risking this, many, if not most religious people would prefer to never meet their God this side of death. They'd like to keep their suppositions and illusions, their assumptions and absolutes. They'd rather condemn members of other religions to eternal hell and damnation than see them be proven in any way right, even on the smallest detail. And thus, no revealed God, however powerful and awesome, no matter how knowledgeable and just, no matter how loving and merciful, no matter how perfectly sculpted his abs, could ever be God enough.